Ha ha. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 8 of the Vindawg Pod. It is week 3. It is week 3 in college football. We've made it very far now. I'm your host, Vinny Speziale. For those of you who are wondering how you even say my last name, there you go. And we're just going to go ahead and we're going to get right into this. To get things started, UW last week defeated Tulsa 43-10. They remain at number 8 in the AP poll. Obviously, Texas beat Alabama. We'll get into that. Give you guys a rundown for the podcast today. We're going to do a weekly update, UW athletics, all that stuff. Talk about Seattle sports a little bit. We're going to talk about that crap in the bed that the Seahawks took. We're going to go ahead and do a review of last week, including that UW game. Got a lot to say. About that. We're going to preview week 3, even though it's a very disappointing slate, like terrible. Very not entertaining. And then, of course, we're going to get into the betting segment, which I'm very upset about. Anyways, ignore all that. Let's get into it. Come on now, weekly updates. UW Athletic weekly scores. On September 8th, volleyball defeated UNLV 3-2, 3 sets to 2. Obviously, on the 9th, football defeated Tulsa 43-10. On the 10th, and the 9th, I guess, men's golf played the Saheli Players Championship. They ended up finishing in 3rd place at plus 10. Congratulations to the men's golf team. And then on September 14th, volleyball defeated Cal Poly 3 sets to 2. Volleyball team's on fire. I think they've won 8 straight now. Pretty impressive. Men's soccer played number 1 Stanford, and they finished with a 1-1 draw, which is actually a pretty impressive result, given how things started for them this season. Chris Myers scored a 42nd minute equalizer, and they got a result out of it. And honestly, when you're playing the number 1 soccer team in the nation, that's really all you can ask for, especially when you're, I think they're like 23, 24. So getting a draw there, getting a point, that's pretty important for them. Upcoming schedule for UW Athletics. On the 15th, volleyball faces Pepperdine at 3 o'clock in Cali. On the 16th, volleyball faces St. Mary's, and women's soccer faces Air Force. Football, of course, faces Michigan State. On the 17th, men's soccer faces Cal Berkeley. On the 18th, men's and women's golf play in a 2-day invitational. And then on the 21st, men's soccer faces Seattle U, and volleyball faces Washington State. And Washington State volleyball is very good this year. Very good. I feel like Washington State athletics are pretty good. It just kind of shocks me that they don't have a softball team at all. Women's softball also started practice for the first time today, I believe. First practice going in the books. I don't know if they already did it or not. I just knew that was happening today. So very excited to see how Heather Tarr and company feels about that team, because I'm definitely very excited to watch them. Seattle sports update. The Seattle Mariners, are 81-65 heading into this weekend series against the Dodgers. A lot of Dodgers fans in Seattle, and I hate it. I'm a San Francisco Giants fan, so clearly I don't like the Dodgers very much. So I've been a little on edge seeing all these Dodgers fans. It's kind of triggering me a little bit, but Mariners, they're a game and a half behind the division at 81-65. They're a game ahead in the wild card, but they got to be careful. They got some, if they get swept by the Dodgers and then they get swept by the Astros, let's say, they're in danger. So the Mariners just need to stay strong and they need to keep it up. Obviously, Julio's been on a tear in his last 7 days. He's batting .480, 3 home runs, 8 runs, and 6 RBI in 7 days. That's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, maybe I could do that on a good day, but not a bad slash right there from Julio. Kalanick, obviously, he returns to provide extra boost to the postseason push. I'm glad that he recovered from that kicking of the cooler. Not his brightest moment, but it's Jared Kalanick. When does he have many bright moments out there? The Seattle Seahawks struggle very bad. Very bad for the Seahawks. 30-13 loss at home to the Rams. Everyone goes to that week 1 debut and they're like, oh my God, remember last year when we beat Denver? It was so electric. Everyone was fired up. Nope. Not this year. They lose to 17 to Matthew Stafford and the Rams. Lots of soul searching heading into this week 2 matchup for the Lions. I don't know if they can really afford to go 0-2. They faced the Panthers, Giants, Bengals, Cardinals, and Browns from week 3 to week 8. And if I'm going to be honest, that's at least 2 losses right there. So, you can't really afford to be 3-4 unless you're like the San Francisco 49ers and can just go on an 8-game winning streak after that. We'll see how it goes for them. We'll see how it goes. Seahawks definitely have a lot of work cut out for them. Let's go ahead and recap week 2 in college football. Obviously, Texas defeats Bama. Number 11 Texas goes into, I think, number 4 Bama, and they go and win 34-24, and they jump all the way to number 4 in the AP ranking. I was a little upset by it, like personally. But I understand. I understand why they are number 4 because they look good. Quinoa look good. Control offensively, complete control, and that deep ball. I mean, he looked like Russell Wilson out there. The way he just lobbed it, it looked like it was gonna go out of like into the sky, and it just dropped right into whoever he wanted. Milroe made bad decisions. It came out that Milroe is not starting for Bama, which is crazy. I mean, that's just how Bama is. You lose one game, you look bad for one moment, and he looked pretty bad, but you look bad, and you're gone. You're done. It's the next man up. Very unfortunate for Bama, or very unfortunate for Milrose, I guess. Bama, that offense is nowhere where it needs to be, especially if they want to be the powerhouse Bama that people know them to be. So we'll see how that goes for Alabama. They're just all around. Bama's just undisciplined, and I mean Texas is back, guys. Last team Texas lost to, right behind me, Washington Huskies, baby. Come on now. Pac-12 continued its success. There are now 8 ranked teams in the top 25, and I'm very excited for this weekend because I don't really know how many of these people are going to lose next week. So we're going to see how that goes. Obviously, it's the most in Pac-12 history, 8 ranked teams. About 2 years too late for them to do that. I think that if they did this 2 years ago, they probably would have figured out a media deal by now, and everyone would be happy. But nope. They decided, let's decide to do this when we're falling apart. Number 12, Utah sneaks away from Baylor 20-13 by scoring 14 points in the fourth quarter. I thought they were going to lose that game. I really did. And I was rooting for them because I don't think it does us any good if Utah loses a non-conference game. Like, same with Oregon. But if Utah loses a non-conference game and they lose one game, they're still like, and let's say we lose one game, they're still in contention with us for the Pac-12 championship. So I don't think it like changes anything. All that affects is maybe a college football playoff appearance, which would not be good. Oregon, as I mentioned, number 13 Oregon barely beat Texas Tech 38-30. Now, when I say barely, that score does not reflect how that game was going. Because Oregon outscored Texas Tech 20-3 in the fourth quarter, including a pick 6 in the last 14 minutes. I think the spread was like 6.5, 7.5. Oregon covered on a BS pick 6. So not a pretty win for Oregon, but a win is a win. Like you can't, it's move on to the next one. A win is a win. Good for them to get the win. I'm glad they got the win because, like I said, you'd rather the team stay high ranked for when we beat them. Wazoo. I'm telling everyone. I made it very clear when I started this podcast that Wazoo is criminally underrated and that they are going to be good. Wisconsin comes into Wazoo. Number 19 Wisconsin comes into Wazoo. And Wazoo takes them down 31-22 at home. And Wazoo is now ranked 23. Good for Wazoo. Number 22 Colorado just cruised past Nebraska 36-14. They are now number 18. Colorado looked good, but I've said this all along. Nebraska, Matt Rule, not good. Not good. And I don't know how I don't know how nobody else sees that. I don't know how I'm the one that keeps having to tell people this, but I guess that's how it's got to be, and I'm very happy to be the informer here. UCLA clobbered San Diego State University 35-10. UCLA is now ranked 24. Good for them. Number 16, Oregon State destroyed UC Davis 55-7. They stay at number 16 because, I mean, if you didn't clobber UC Davis, what are you doing? Number 6, USC. This was not even fair. I feel really bad for Stanford because USC was up 49-3 at the half. And if it weren't for them like protecting their players, I think USC had a legitimate chance to score 100 points in that game. I think USC could have scored 100 points against Stanford. That's how lopsided that game was looking. So They won 56-10. I can't believe they only scored 7 in the second half, but USC is now the number 5 team in the nation. Good for them. That'll change. We need to beat them later in the year. Arizona falls to Mississippi State 31-24 in overtime. That would have been a big win for the Pac-12 if we had snuck another one in there. But, it happens. You can't win them all. Auburn squeaks past Cal 14-10 with a fourth quarter touchdown. It was down 7-10. I thought Cal was about to beat Auburn. That would have been a massive victory for the Pac-12. They don't get it their way. That's okay. Oklahoma State pulled away in the second half versus ASU to come out with a 27-15 victory. And then, of course, and we'll talk about this a little bit, Washington handles business against Tulsa for a 43-10 victory. Go ahead and talk about that UW versus Tulsa game. It was a quick start in the first quarter for the Huskies, but the team looked pretty sloppy. First drive was great. It was a 35-yard pass to McMillan. Force-fed the ball for 7 straight runs, I believe. 4 straight, 7 straight, one of those. 4 straight runs, maybe, and then a 2-yard touchdown pass. Defense let Tulsa down the field to get a field goal on that next drive. Got to be better than that. It's Tulsa. If you're going to give up 10 points to Tulsa, let's not give up the first 3 points right away. Because in any other given universe, if something happened, if momentum changed, that second first possession score could change the outcome of any game. So defense has to be better out of the gate. We've got to prevent that from happening. Following drive, Penix throws an interception in the end zone. Got to be better. Can't be doing that, especially if you're going to expect to be a national championship contender. Let's go up 14-3. Let's not give them the ball back. Bad decision from Penix. He's got to work on that. But the reality is the offense played a great game. Like, Michael Penix still played a great game. No punch from the offense. It was 2 turnovers and a missed field goal. That is not good. Let's not be having 2 turnovers and a missed field goal against freaking Tulsa. All right? Come on. Penix went 28 for 38, 409 yards, 3 touchdowns, an interception, a 90.4 QBR. Phenomenal game from Penix. UW run game is flat out terrible. You could put me in a helmet and I'm producing the same numbers as these guys are right now. And it's not even to say that these guys are bad. It's just we need to figure it out. It just looks terrible. It's very predictable. It's the same thing every time. We need to find a way to mix it up because we can't set up the play action. We can't set up the deep ball against better teams if we don't figure out something in the run game. So if we could open up the transfer portal and get someone real quick, that would be really nice for us. McMillan had a day. 8 receptions, 120 yards, a touchdown, a fumble, a bad fumble, but happens. McMillan. I think we can forgive his fumble for today. Rome Odunze, 7 receptions, 107 yards, and a touchdown. Odunze is just going to be Odunze. That's not a surprise for any of us. Jalen Polk, 5 receptions, 81 yards. Another good day from your third receiver. Let's preview week 3 real quick. It's like I was talking about earlier. This is set up for the Pac-12 to have another really good week. If I'm looking at this, I would not be surprised if the Pac-12 only loses 1 game this week. And if that happens, it literally might be a historic start for any conference. But let's go over it. Number 12, Utah versus Weber State. Obviously, Utah's going to clobber Weber State. Number 16, Oregon State versus San Diego State. That'll be fun to watch because I'm very curious how, after we saw UCLA win by 25 against San Diego State, I'm very curious what Oregon State can follow that up with. If Oregon State is really a better team and a powerhouse and, got the hype that they're trying to show off, this should be an easy win for them. Let's see here. Next up is California versus Idaho. That should be an easy California win. California's been looking really competitive, so I'm excited to see that one. Washington State versus Northern Colorado. We know what's going to happen there. The reality is that. Well, okay, we're back. I don't know what happened, but we're back. Yeah, Washington State, Northern Colorado. Wazoo's going to clobber them. UCLA versus North Carolina Central. Well, how does that even get scheduled? I don't even know what North Carolina Central is. That's all you need to know. Number 13, Oregon versus Hawaii. Now, just keep in mind that Stanford, who I think is by far the worst team in this conference, which might not even be saying a lot because this is such a great conference. They still beat Hawaii by 13. So I think Oregon's going to, I'm not even going to get into it. Stanford versus Sacramento State. Once again, Stanford, that garbage team, but they should be able to beat Sacramento State. Number 18, Colorado versus Colorado State. That's going to be fun. We'll get into why that'll be fun. Arizona State versus Fresno State. Fresno State has the second best FBS win streak right now. So I think Fresno State has a legitimate chance at coming out with a nice W here. Arizona versus UTEP. That'll be interesting because Arizona is as unpredictable as it gets. And then, of course, number 8, Washington versus Michigan State. Let's go ahead and talk about that Washington versus Michigan State game. On paper, this is an easy win, but this has all the makings of a trap. And this is easily the most nervous I've been so far, way more nervous than I was against Boise State. UW is 9-12 on grass fields since the Chris Peterson era. And I saw a report that, DeBoer is going to have those boys out on a grass field. And so they're going to have some sort of familiarity with the grass field before they go into this game. But still, it's nerve-wracking. Obviously, there's the Mel Tucker situation. For those of you that don't know the Mel Tucker situation, let me give you a rundown. They had a rape survivor come out and talk to the team and, talk about safety and sexual assault awareness and how to avoid that and all that stuff. And Mel Tucker thought it would be a good idea to get himself in a relationship with this particular individual. Now, the question is whether it was a consensual relationship or not, because allegedly he had phone sex with her unconsensually. Those are the allegations, and we're just gonna let it unfold because who am I to even bring it up? All I've seen is things on Twitter. That's what I've read. But either way, Mel Tucker's done. Mel Tucker is out at MSU, so they have no coach. I don't know if you guys remember, but last year Arizona State fired their coach, and what did they do? They beat us. Now, granted, it was in the desert, but if we're gonna talk about bad voodoo, being 9-12 on grass field and then playing against a coach that got fired almost feels like playing in the desert and then playing against the coach that got fired. The voodoo is bad, okay? The voodoo is bad. That's why I'm nervous. But here's the thing. Kalen DeBoer knows what happened last year, and he's coming. He's ready for this. He's ready for this. UW is a 16.5-point favorite. The over-under is at 56. My prediction for the game is obviously a UW victory. I think it's going to be an unbelievably high-scoring game. I think it's going to be 45-32 UW. I think that it's going to be close early. I think you're going to get in a halftime with both teams in the 20s, maybe 28-24 UW. And then from there, I just see UW exploding in the second half. I just see Michigan State slowing down. I see UW completely controlling the game, the time of possession, just all of that. The thing is Michael Penix Jr. is going to be that guy. And Michigan State hasn't really played good competition yet. So I can predict another Michael Penix 400-plus yard performance, 3+ touchdowns. I think the biggest question is how will the explosive pass game overcome the abysmal run game? Because we need to find a way to incorporate the run, and Michigan State knows that we are not good at running the football. And Michigan State has got this game circled on their calendar because the reason they were so bad last year is because we destroyed them at home when everyone thought that number 11 Michigan State was going to come in and beat unranked Washington. Now, unranked Michigan State wants to beat ranked Washington, so who knows? Very interesting situation. I'm very curious to see how that'll go. And the point is, we need to figure out the run game because, Michigan State's not bad against the run already as it is. I mean, granted, they play some garbage teams like Central Michigan, but they can put themselves in position here to make a run. So we got to see what we can do to prevent that. Odunze, McMillan, and Polk, they're going to do their thing again. I see them combining for 275-plus yards and 3 touchdowns. Last game, they combined for 275-plus with 2 touchdowns. I think that either McMillan or Odunze are going to find the end zone multiple times. Just because, that's just how this game is going to go. That's literally the game script. It's just going to be long scoring. It's going to be a bunch of deep balls. UW has shown how good they are at those 20-plus yard plays, and that's what they're going to force in. And, I mean, at some point, Michigan State is just going to have no hope at defending that. I think that another big thing is that Michigan State's probably going to get shell-shocked by the fact that they've gone from garbage opponents to the best passing offense in the nation. Like, there's not much preparing you can do for that, especially when your quarterback has like a QBR less than 60. So that's something to keep in mind. The defense, honestly, the biggest thing is that the defense has to prevent those third and short situations. If the defense can prevent those third and short situations, they're going to be fine. Because Michigan State looked very, very strong when it was 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. They were able to pound it through, get an easy first down. If they can play it like that, make it 3rd and short, get those first down, put themselves in a good position, they can control the game clock, and next thing you know, UW is down a possession and one mistake, and this whole game changes. So that'll be the big thing. All right, we're going quick through this podcast today because Vinny wants to go play some golf. So let's get into the betting segment, my friends. Last week, I kind of got screwed. It should have been a 4-1 week, but instead it was a 2-3 week, and we're gonna get into why. Washington defeats Tulsa 43-10, but they don't cover the -34 because they won by 33. So that missed by 1. I don't really know if I can say that was a bad bet on my part. I almost want to chalk it as a win, but it wasn't. I know, and it could have been 33.5, and I still would have lost. So happens, right? And those are just unfortunate situations that we have to avoid, and next time we will avoid. But very unfortunate for us. Not what we wanted to see at all. Tough loss. And then how do we follow it up? With another brutal loss. Oregon defeats Texas Tech 38-30 and does not cover the over 69 by 1 point. So that's now 2 points. It's just 2 points in football that I am not going to hit this on. Obviously, it shouldn't have even been 38-30. So the fact that this was a 1 point game is kind of a meh. Like, it should have been 31-30. But that's the reality. We missed it by 1. That's okay. We got to be better. Colorado defeated Nebraska 36-14 to cover the -2.5. That was easy, guys. I told you. Anytime Matt Rule says or does anything, it's like he's going to be garbage. I think he sucks. And everyone thinks he's the answer. In Nebraska, he's not. He's simply not. Nebraska sucks. Matt Rule sucks. They all suck. Bam. Easy money. Easy money my way. Come on now. Oklahoma defeats SMU 28-11. Covers 15.5. That was nice. I'm glad I got that one because I was nervous. I did not think that Oklahoma was actually going to cover, but luckily they covered by 1.5, so we are good to go on that one. Wazoo defeats Wisconsin 31-22 and fails to cover the over 58 by 5. I'm so mad at myself because I totally said last week that I could see Wazoo beating Wisconsin. And for some reason, I thought the over was the play because I thought both teams could score 30. And I was right about Wazoo, but clearly I was wrong about Wisconsin. I did not know Wisconsin was going to struggle to get to 30 points. And Wisconsin was down the whole game. I mean, they looked bad. So kudos to Wazoo, but bad for me. So my week 3 plays, I got some ground to make up because I'm now 7-9 overall. That is not good. I do not want to be 7-9 overall. That's like a 2012 Seahawks making the playoff type record. 2010, whatever. 2011. I think I went in between the Beastquake. 2011 Seahawks making the playoff record. That's not what we want. We don't want to sneak in the playoffs. We want a first round bye. So that's why this week I cooked. And we're going to win next week. I think we're going to go 5-0 next week. I am very confident about it. Let's get right into it, guys. Oregon -38 versus Hawaii. Hawaii lost by 13 to Stanford. I've already said this many times. Stanford is the worst team in the Pac-12. I can go out and comfortably say that Oregon is 3 times better than Stanford. I think Oregon can triple what Stanford did to Hawaii. Oregon's also looking for a big tune-up win because they're facing Coach Prime in Colorado next week. Obviously, Dan Lanning made the comments about Dion, and the Colorado like to make everything personal. So I think something big is going to happen there. I'm expecting a blowout, a 40-something point blowout from Oregon against Hawaii, and I'm excited to see it. Colorado minus 23.5. Colorado minus 23.5 versus Colorado State. Colorado State lost by 26 to Wazoo. And I think Colorado is a better team than Wazoo. I mean, granted, Wazoo is great. I mean, like I've been talking about it. We've seen what Wazoo is capable of doing. But the Colorado State coach, for no reason at all, decided to talk smack to Coach Prime. And what does Coach Prime do? He buys all of his players sunglasses. He even bought the First Take crew sunglasses. They're fired up. They are going to destroy Colorado State. Colorado State sucks. It's not even that big of a spread, I don't think. I don't even think 23.5 is a crazy spread. I think it should be 32.5. I think Colorado wins by 30. I think that's an easy play. Give me Coach Prime. Give me Travis Hunter. Give me Shedeur Sanders. Give them all me. This is a fun one. And I'm kind of scared about this one, but I think it's an electric play. Western Michigan plus 28 versus Iowa. I don't even think Iowa can score 28 points. Like, they're the 25th team in the nation. Western Michigan sucks, but Iowa can't score points. Like, there's like a clause in their head coach's contract that he has to, I don't know if it's like make a bowl game or get a certain amount of wins or whatever it might be, but he has to also score 25 points a game. Like, they're expecting him to score 25 points a game or you're out. And they haven't been very close to that. So, 28 points. I mean, there's a good chance that Iowa could win this. It could shut out Western Michigan, and Western Michigan to still cover. Like, it could legitimately be a 27-0 game, and Western Michigan covers. So the way I'm looking at this, Western Michigan literally only needs 7 points, and they're gonna cover this game. Because if the most points I see Iowa scoring is like 35, maybe 34. If they score 34 and Western Michigan scores 7, guys, Western Michigan is going to cover this game. So give me Western Michigan plus 28. Here's a fun one. Oklahoma versus Tulsa, under 59.5, guys. I totally thought the UW-Tulsa game was going to fly over, and it ended at 53. So, I know you guys know UW has a better offense than Oklahoma. Oklahoma probably has a better defense than UW, maybe. It's like borderline right there. They're not scoring more than 59 points. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Tulsa is going to make the occasional big play. They're going to run down the clock. Oklahoma is not going to have enough chances to score. Oklahoma also doesn't, other than their week 1 game, they don't seem like the team that's going to just score a ton of points. So I think Tulsa is going to be somewhere in that 10 to 17 range. And I think Oklahoma is going to be in that like 31 range. Maybe even Oklahoma scores 38. And it's going to be 38-17 and it's still going to go under. So give me the under 59.5 Oklahoma Tulsa. My last play. And I love it. Washington versus Michigan State over 56. It's like I said earlier, guys. I think this is going to be a unbelievably high scoring game. There's a chance Michigan State is going to make it really scary for us as UW fans. But the reality is if that's going to happen, it's going to be high scoring. Because Washington's scoring at least 35 points against this defense. Michigan State's defense, it's not that great. It's not that great. There were moments where they struggled against some really garbage teams, and now they're going up against the best passing offense in the nation. So Washington's clearing 35 points easy, but I can see Michigan State keeping it close and scoring at least 3 touchdowns. And at that point, it's what? Let's say it's a 35-21 game. They push if that's the case. And I think UW scored more than 35. So give me the over 56. I see lots of emotion going into this game with like the Michigan State side and the Mel Tucker situation. And then obviously UW is playing on grass and there's a lot of upset talk. I saw ESPN drop a whole notification saying that is Washington on upset alert? I'm so sick and tired of hearing people say is Washington on upset alert because they keep proving you wrong. Washington was on upset alert against Boise State and they slaughtered them. But we'll see how this one goes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for another great week of the Vindawg Pod. I can't wait to see you guys next week. We're going to get an NFL podcast starting soon. We kind of did an episode, but I'm so bad with technology that it didn't record. So my bad. We're going to get that going soon. Appreciate you guys for listening to me, and I hope you all have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful rest of your week. Peace out.